It's 420 on 420 at 420. Woohoo! Whoa! Snuck up on me there, I see ya. Don't I know you? Yeah. Yeah, you're that crowd of intellectual musicologists that's often seen floating in my orbit. Glad you could make it, as always. So, let's see. Let me say welcome. Yes, I shall say that. To the it's working now. Return to the Perfumed Gardens with that somewhat sketchy character and my personal favorite, me, Rik Strange. Hey, so let's not burn any more daylight and let's just get on with, shall we lubricate our social interactions? Yes, we will. With today's first llama bite from the VCLT that Franklin sent me. This is another installment. This is 2. And it's the record, The Constant Sound. Okay, this is kind of interesting. The backstory here is there were only a handful of this demo tape ever pressed. And it's a rare recording from '68 with no credits or listings of any musicians or singers until now. This platter is a perfect example of California sunshine pop psych. This needle drop starts off with the cut Avalon, and that's a homage to Chet Helms's Avalon Ballroom with the Family Dog. So, let's get in line for the daisy chain around the park. Ding ding.
At the Avalon you buy and take you to a tree. You climb the stairs and leave your troubles down below. If you want adventure you will go. And you'll feel the glow at the Avalon. You can draw right on the floor with multicolored chalk. Beneath fluorescent lights and fountains of gold. You shine just like a laughing moon. As you gaze upon sights beyond Avalon, there's on your glamour every day. There is new excitement on the way when you come in to stay. The Avalon presents another light show every night. Flashing stars and hasty tides and hills of gold. You are caught in the glass revolving ball, and you start to fall. Avalon brings on your glamour every day. There is new excitement on the way when you come in to stay.
That gets my breath there. Wowzers indeed! Here is the LP in question. Pretty plain. And to the point. I haven't even ripped off the plastic yet. I don't know when I'll do that. Anyway, it's a limited pressing and it's from Lysergic Sound Distributors. And the one thing that's interesting here, and we're going to talk about this, is that there is a booklet, which we need. And it's in, well, I got that in there without any trouble. And it's in glorious black vinyl. Damn, I got it. Okay. This LP, it fits, it really fits right into that LA sound for their version of the Summer of Love, the scene, you know, that whole thing was tripping out there. And the package comes with a wealth of info because there was just nothing to be told. Okay, and so it tells you the who, what, where, and when of the disc's arrival, and it's there was I will say this, there was a reference to this in the Acid Archives book, and the author of that book, who has, I can't remember his name, I think he's passed away a while back, but he gave it a real high rating, and he said it was just one of those mystery records that you just got to track down. So anyway, this booklet lets us know how the project evolved. It turns out it was a soundtrack for an obscure hippy-dippy art film in I think it was 67. I think it was in 67. It might have been 68. And that was called, what was the name of that? Blah, 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 blah. It's called You Don't Have the Time. That's what it is. Not me, but you. The musicians, ta-da-da, are the Wrecking Crew from the LA Sound Studios. I mean, and they play it on a plethora of records. And they finally decided that, because they were a finely tuned professional bunch of bangers. I mean, these guys were the real deal. They were on the Birds LPs, the Monkeys LPs, you name it. Everybody would go to these guys starting in I'd say the mid to late 50s all the way up through somewhere around 69, maybe 70, and then that was days over. Anyway, that's also where these singers came from. And so the movie itself was, didn't really go anywhere, but these cats wanted to put out the demo of the whole soundtrack. And, I'll tell you what, those tunes are excellently written, and it's a really good time capsule for that whole thing of summer lovin' in the LA style. I say you check it out. This one has changed my mindset about pop psych. Thanks, Franklin. Good choice. So let's keep the buzz going, because I want to tell you what, mine's kicking in. Anyway, our second choice for today is a 2025 Record Store Day happening by the 13th floor elevators, and it was recorded live in February 18th, 1967 at the Houston Musical Theater, I think it was called. This particular record was supposed to be their second release, but it got shelved for whatever reason. And but this mono recording is the real deal, as opposed to the other LP that came out sometime in their fragmented history that had just studio material on it that was crowd noises were dubbed in on, didn't fool anybody. Anyway, the dose I'm laying out there today is the tuner Kingdom of Heaven. And we'll see you on the outro, Joe.
Your
like, hey, that one heats my muffins up, baby. We're going to do a little show and tell today from the archives of our wonderful home. This is a flyer. I don't have the full-size poster. This one's a hard one to come by. Of the 1966 Fillmore gig that said 13th floor elevators played at. And I think, who was with them? Oh, Great Society and Sop with Camel. So, and that makes it before Grace had left the Great Society. So that would have been a cool gig. That was the only time they played the Fillmore. Then I have, this is their, I think it's their third performance and final performance at the Avalon. They did 2 other gigs at the Avalon, and this was the third one. And I think this one's got Moby Grape in it, and who else was there? I don't know. It just, I think they just had Moby Grape. That's all I can read. Did you get that there, kiddo? Okay, so there you have it. A little bit of poster art for your eye pupils. Here's the record. This is it. It's on the International Artists label, which the whole thing was licensed. They licensed all their 30th floor elevator stuff to a company called Charlie. It's an English, it's an English release. And I don't generally show the record, but this is one of those dark blue, psychedelic-y. You can't really tell, but so why am I showing it? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Now I got it stuck. And there you have it. So that's why you never take them out of sleep. Okay. So now we're moving on here. I'm not sure, but I think this might have been recorded from the audience. I don't think it's a soundboard recording. It's not that hotsy tots of a really great recording. It's a really good recording. I would give it a 7 on the sound meter, which is pretty good for that point in time. You can hear all the instruments distinctly, but it's not anything in your face. And that's really how mono is anyway, especially when it's done live. So, there you go. But this being the only live performance captured, hey baby, you gotta jump on it. The other thing that's important here is that this was the last performance by the original band. And this was, let's see, they had quite a fanfare going over in LA when they got out there in '66. They did some TV shows and, you know, the Team Bang Wang, they had a good time. You know, the American Bandstand, I think, or American Bandstand, or maybe Where the Action Is, one of them 2 things. And then they went up to San Francisco and did their trip up there. So here's something that's kind of cool. As a side note, Janis Joplin opened for them before her leaving Texas in '66 to join the Big Brother and Holding Company. I'd say this is a good record. It's worth searching. It's worth searching for, and it's reasonably priced. I'd say get on down to the Roadhouse, baby, and buy it. Okay, now here comes somebody that didn't quite make it onto the train from last episode where we were doing Ladies History Month, and so we're going to be talking about these young ladies. They started out in 1956. They're 4 sisters. Called their last name is Klinger. There's Patsy on drums. There was Deborah on bass. There was Melody on guitars and Peggy on keyboards. But the thing to remember is that when in '56 they started out, they just sang and didn't play anything. They didn't make that turnaround until, well, quite a ways down the road. So anyway, but they did do a lot of, you know, TV shows. They got quite a history. They were on the Andy Williams Show, Moon River, and Danny Kaye. He had a show on the Tube. And here's one. They also toured with the original piano man, Liberace. Yeah, my best pal's mom when I was growing up, she had a piano in the living room, and she just loved Liberace. So she'd force us to sit there, and we'd be serenaded with his catalog. Cool stuff, huh? Not woo! By '66. It was showtime for the girls, and one of their first, well, they were considered one of the very first female rock bands, and they called themselves the Clingers. And here's one of their biggest 45s from '68 called Gonna Have a Good Time. So let's! Kawinka-Dinkley, they signed with Columbia Records. They were with a bunch of different other labels in the previous years, but they finally got this one out on Columbia. So here, this is a promotional copy, if that means anything to anybody. Okay, and the flip side was And Now You Know Me. Okay, there you have it. All right. Here's the deal. They had found a serious groove, really. I mean, that proves it. Let's see, where do I want to go with this? Well, originally they were from Utah. You know, the Salt Lake City people. Utah, Salt Lake City, building, Mormons, whatever. I don't know. Then they headed to LA to make their mark touring. Tons, and I mean tons of touring. And even winding up on the great Smothers Brothers Hour. How about that? And that one was in January 16th, 1969. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find that on the YouTubus, which would be cool for you to see, because I've seen a live version of this song, so I think that's where they got it from. Kim Fowley, who you may know the name, Was, you know, he was the LA kind of scenester. He stated that they being the girls, the Clingers, were the first under 18 girl group to perform globally. How about that? They did their thing, and then in '71 they bailed out. But what a cool legacy. That song really happens, man. I'm telling you, it's a happening tune. So, here's our last session for today with the first band that Eric Burton assembled in 1971 after leaving war. It's a 1974 release called Sun Secrets. Now what's important to remember here is between 71 and 73 Eric recorded this LP, Sun Secrets, and also Stop. But both of those records were totally different bands. I mean, the guy he had the connections to do it, and so there you have it. So here's the blues rock that he's best known for, and the tune is called Letter from the County Farm. Some blues deluxe for you kids.
Rumbling and mumbling and calling me along here. I wouldn't mind when they cut my hair quite some time ago. They cut it off when I first came here.
Phew-wee! Okay? Bingo. Let's do this. You know, that voice is so recognizable. Blah. Here's the record. And Nancy is going to take a shot of the cover. And the back is pretty much zero. It's a fair album. I will say that. The guitarist on this whole thing, on this particular journey, is a guy by the name of Alon Butler. And I mean, he's a really good matchup with the wail of Eric's emotions. You know, I don't know how else to put it. His voice is really, the mix is like in your face. It's so good with him. The LP also contains a lot of reimagination of some past Animal hits. It's My Life, When I Was Young, and Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. You know, I'd have to say with that Phase Blaster's guitar work, you know, it was really, it was a decent interpretation. Eric wasn't too happy with this LP, and he didn't really want it released. But you know, the shirts of capital overruled him. You know, that's how they do it. They sit in them big chairs and they tell you, shut up. It's a fair LP, like I say, and you can find it Creighton, and you know, with a reasonable price, it's worth the ride. So, with that hubbub, this leads us to our luminous bumperus for today. Let's see here. Where's it at? Bing bing bang boom. Okay. I'm gonna lose that. Anyway, it is the electronico virtuoso of Walter Carlos, and it's switched on Bach from the primary release date of 1968. The tricky part about this is Robert Moog was so digging this LP, and the reason it was is because, you know, he realized that Carlos had proven to have the finesse and dexterity, because plugging this in and that, to utilize the Moog's full potential. You know, because the original Moog was, just look at something that Keith Emerson was playing in ELP on the first year they were together. There was jumper chords everywhere. I mean, that's how it worked. So there you have it. And there you have that at the end. So I do want to thank the new subs, because we got some. And I also want to thank you for the boost in views. Woohoo, baby, we like that. That's, you know, it makes the therapy sessions that much more comfortable. And I appreciate it that more people are gawking at the TV and learning something, I hope. I'm always learning something. You know, because this is the strangest life I've ever known. Anyway, before I get too blasted away, because I'm losing contact with the planet, I want to say thanks. Really, gardeners, you got to stay and keep your cool. Stay the course, keep your cool, guys. It's tough times for us all. We're going to make it. And remember, till the twain shall meet, we are all one, and I love you all. Peace, and see you later.